Hello my friends, today I wanted to revisit some old favorites of mine, luxury pieces that at one point I was kind of obsessed with. I couldn't stop using and talking about them, so I feel like some of you out there who watch all of my videos, which if you do, I hope you know how much I appreciate you, but I feel like those of you might actually be happy that these pieces are no longer featured in every single one of my videos in some shape or form. But I did want to give them a last mention here and share with you first of all why I stopped using them and what pieces I have been reaching for instead. So without further ado, if you'd like to see the luxury pieces that have fallen out of favor with me, then please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. Let's jump straight in, and why don't we start with one of my classic favorites, a piece that I could not stop wearing and talking about for at least, I want to say a solid year or two, which are my beloved Avanta sneakers. Now this is a pair of shoes that I genuinely wore every single day, rain or shine or snow. It didn't matter. These are a pair of shoes that I wore almost on a daily basis. It didn't matter if I was going to the gym, if I was going to the fanciest event, which let's be honest doesn't happen often to me, and I wouldn't technically wear them in the gym, but I would wear them on my way to the gym. But these were a pair of shoes that I just wore every single day, which you guys know. Anytime I posted a picture, these are the shoes that I had on, which was for a good reason. These shoes were not only incredibly comfortable, which I think is rare to find when it comes to more expensive shoes, they are unbelievably comfortable. It did take a few wears for me to break them in, but afterwards they have become some of the most comfortable shoes that I own. They're flattering, they go with anything and everything, and because they were white, I know it's a controversial topic, but I do think that if you wear as much black as I do, adding in just a touch of white with your shoes, whether it's the entire shoe or just the sole, helps to elevate the outfit and break things up. I feel like if you have an all black outfit on with a black pair of shoes, unless you're going to a really formal event, it can drag you down a little bit. I like to break things up. I don't know why, but visually I just find it really pleasing. I don't know if it's because of Phoebe when she worked as Celine. It was kind of the trend that she introduced, but she was definitely the first person that I saw wearing these sort of sneakers with a more formal outfit, and ever since then it has been my preferred look, and I haven't found anything as good as the Avanta sneakers. They have definitely become my most worn and most loved designer sneakers of all time. The only reason I stopped wearing them is because I cannot replace the ones that I already own. So I have the Avanta sneakers in Marine, which is a dark navy blue, and then I want to say 9 months after I got my initial pair, I also bought them in orange, both of which I love, but unfortunately they're currently not being produced in new colorways and in new finishes. As I mentioned in previous videos of mine, I don't think that they have officially been discontinued, but they are not being offered for the current season, which is such a shame. I wish I could go back in time and buy another pair, which I actually did have the chance to do. I was contemplating getting another pair in Marine, but then in the end I was like, it would be such a waste of money to buy another pair of shoes in the exact same color. But I wish I had done it, because it is definitely something that I am missing right now. And even though I still have my Avanta sneakers, they are just not looking the best, and it has nothing to do with the shoes. I am the one to blame for, because admittedly I'm not the best at looking after my shoes. It's definitely something that I would love to get better at, and especially when it comes to white sneakers, you just have to keep them white. You cannot have an excuse, because once they start turning yellow, orange, they are marked, they are scuffed up. They definitely won't do quite as much for your outfit as they did when they were brand new. So unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, my Avanta sneakers are just not as pretty as they once were, but currently I cannot buy another pair to replace them with. The only option that I would have is to actually have a pair of Avanta sneakers custom made in Hermes' so-called exotic lab program, which basically means it's similar to a special order experience, except you're ordering a pair of shoes in exotic skins, which I did consider. I was invited, I guess you could call it, even though it's not nearly as exclusive as placing a request for a special order bag. But anyway, I was asked if it's something that I would be interested in doing, and I did look at the list of styles that are being offered, because not all Hermes shoe styles you can order in the Exotic Lab, but thankfully the Avantage sneakers were an option. You can choose what style you would like, what size you would like it in, and then of course you can choose the color of the leather and the type of leather. For Avantage you can only order them in alligator or croc. Some you can order in lizard, but I think for men it's only the Izmir sandals that are an option in lizard. Everything else is only an option in either alligator or croc, and naturally I would have ordered them in either matte alligator in black, or I also briefly considered Himalaya just because I love having them in white. But then I received a quote of how much they would cost, and I'm so glad I didn't order them because they would have been more expensive than a Birkin or Kelly, which makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me to spend so much money on a pair of shoes. I don't mind spending a little bit more money on an exotic piece, but not when it comes to shoes, because I know how I use my shoes. I know these are a pair of sneakers that I would want to wear and enjoy, and I would go through them in about a month, just because exotic skins are so delicate, they are so finicky, you have to be so careful with them that it would have not made sense for me to spend probably around 15 to 20 times of how much the Avantage sneakers actually cost in regular skins. So I decided to skip. I miss my Avantage sneakers, but I'm still hoping that they'll be brought back at one point. So the sneakers that I have been wearing instead are actually my Dior B30 sneakers, which I unboxed not that long ago. I have been loving those sneakers. I've been wearing them a ton, and even though I don't find them to be nearly as easy to style as my Avantage sneakers, which genuinely go with anything and everything, on a daily basis I have been loving the B30 sneakers. They definitely lean into the ugly grandpa shoe trend, so if you like a chunkier shoe, they're definitely one that you want to check out, especially because considering how chunky they look on the shelf, they're not nearly as overwhelming on your feet. They're not going to make your feet look gigantic. They're actually quite sleek looking. So I have been wearing those a ton, especially because I didn't mention this in my initial unboxing, but there's an elastic band in the shoe. So if you don't love tying your shoelaces every single time, with these you don't actually have to. You can just slip your feet in and you're going to be good to go. You don't actually have to tie the laces, which I love. So I've been loving the B30 sneakers. I don't love them as much as I love my Avantage sneakers, but in the meantime, I am incredibly grateful to have those on hand. Moving on, who remembers this piece? This piece is the one that actually started my journey on YouTube when it comes to talking about luxury and talking about Hermes. Believe it or not, I think this was the first Hermes piece that I ever unboxed, and it was the feedback on that video that actually encouraged me to start talking about Hermes and even fashion, which I don't think I've ever done a video sharing why I started doing YouTube. If that's something that you would like to see from me, just sharing my experience and why I started how I started, let me know in the comment section. It's definitely a video that I have been thinking about doing. I'm just not sure if you'd be interested in hearing about it, but if you are, let me know. Anyway, long story short, I decided to unbox this on YouTube one day. It wasn't overly planned. I was just like, why don't I unbox it and share it with my virtual friends? And that video is really the one that started this journey of mine. So I'm incredibly grateful for this piece, and it's one that I have definitely got my money's worth out of, because I pretty much didn't use any other SLG other than this up until maybe the beginning of this year. I think I ended up swapping this for my Constance pocket because I wanted to test that, and I don't think I ever went back to using this, which is kind of a shame. The only issue that I could think of why I haven't been reaching for this is the twist closure. This is one of my most favorite SLGs that have ever been created. If you're looking for an SLG that obviously is an SLG, but it will do so much more for your collection, because this is definitely something that you could carry out on its own. I have talked about how else you can style it, how you can make it into a belt bag, a crossbody bag, I think it's just such an adorable piece, which I'm not exactly sure if it's still in production. I haven't seen it in quite a while, so I'm afraid that it might have been discontinued or it might not be offered currently, but if you see it, definitely check it out. I adore this piece. But what I was saying is that the twist closure is not the easiest to deal with if you're a fan of smaller bags. It makes it a little bit tougher to get in and out of your bags, and it takes up quite a bit of space. Even though it is slim, but it expands so you can still pack it. This makes it a little bit tougher to maneuver it in and out of your bags if you're a fan of smaller bags. So it technically fits into a mini Kelly, but if you put this in your mini Kelly, nothing else will fit and you won't be able to close your bag. It obviously does fit into the Kelly pochette because it's slightly larger, but because I don't have an insert in my Kelly pochette and it's made of a softer, more malleable leather, I was too scared to use it in there. And when it comes to my Constance, this I doubt would fit into my Constance. I never tried it and I never want to because again, I'm afraid that this would create a mark on the inside of my bag. So I stopped using it. I definitely see myself going back to it. I love this piece. I still stand by my original reviews. But as I said then, it's something that you have to be careful with when it comes to using smaller bags. And believe it or not, this is such an elaborate piece, but the one that I have swapped this for, which I forgot to take out of my bag, but I'll make sure to put in a picture here, is my little Citizen 12 card holder. I believe that is what it's called, which is lined with silk. I have that in this beautiful vivid shade of yellow, which I love. It's such a simple design that I don't know why, but I've gone back to. Perhaps it's the color, just because I have so many black bags, I wear so many black outfits, that adding a touch of color with that piece really helps to break things up. But that's a piece that I have loved. It's not perfect, unfortunately. I did talk about some of the flaws of that piece in a previous video of mine, so if you'd like to hear about that, make sure to have that video linked down below and also up here. But it is a piece that I have been using, and maybe I should go back to giving this another try. I mean, I still love it. I have such good memories with this piece, but I have to be honest, I haven't used it pretty much since I think I uploaded my review and my comparison of this and the Constance. This next piece is actually a piece that I've had for just about a year. I think it's going to be our 1 year anniversary coming up soon because it's something that I got for my birthday last year, and my birthday is coming up. I think you're going to see this video just a couple of days before my birthday, so it's a piece that I've had for a year, so I can definitely share with you my in-depth review on it and my final thoughts, which is the Kelly chain bracelet. It's a bracelet that I absolutely love. It's one of the most beautiful pieces that I own, but for some reason I haven't been reaching for it. In fact, I'm going through a phase of not really wearing that much jewelry. The only piece that I've been really enjoying has been my Gallop ring from Hermes. It doesn't matter what happens, it doesn't matter what new pieces Hermes comes out with. So many people rave about certain pieces. I've talked about the Shandong range, the Kelly range, the CDC range, all of which are beautiful. Yet I always go back to my Gallop ring. It's just such an incredible piece, an incredible collection because of the craftsmanship, the artistry, and what these pieces add to your collection. It's by far one of the most subtle pieces that I have, but it is one that is most often complimented. So that's the piece that I always go back to, and I was supposed to put it on, but I think I left it on my desk over there. So anyway, today there's no jewelry on, which I think has been a trend, and because of that I haven't been wearing my Kelly chain bracelet that much, but it's definitely a piece that I haven't fallen out of love with. I still very much love it and have it, and will definitely go back to using, perhaps in full winter when I feel like my arms are a little bit more covered. I feel like I've been wearing t-shirts in all of my videos just because it has been so hot without the AC on in here, and I don't know why, but I don't really wear bracelets that much in the summer. And the last piece that I wanted to share with you is actually a bag. Now, I was going back and forth between a few bags. I was considering showing you this or Birkin, but I feel like I have been talking so much about the Birkin lately. I've been telling you that I don't see myself buying any more of it. I made a video telling you exactly why that is, what are the shortcomings of the Birkin that I don't necessarily love, and I would love for you to be aware of. So that video, if you haven't seen it, it was the one that I uploaded right before this one, so you can always go back and watch that, and I'll make sure to link it down below for you. But anyway, long story short, this is the bag that I ended up choosing because when I first got it, I was incredibly excited about it. It's one that I have been going back and forth on for at least a couple of years. It made it onto my wish list, then I had to take it off, then I put it back on. I didn't understand the hype, then I was like, you know, I really have to give it a try. So it took me quite a while to get it, even though I feel like it's one of those entry-level pieces that most people will buy as their first bag from Hermes, which I don't think I have even shown you what I'm talking about, which is my Evelyne PM, or also known as Evelyne 16. And this bag I got specifically to use for dog walking. But unfortunately, it didn't work out, and there's one main reason, which is the shoulder strap. I don't understand why, but the shoulder strap on this Evelyne, unlike it is on other Evelynes, is not adjustable. So you get this shoulder strap, which is incredibly generous, one could say. It's basically really long. It's even long on me, and I am 5'11", so I can only imagine how long this would be on you if you're more petite or if you're shorter. And considering that this is a bag that's technically in their women's line, not that it isn't unisex, I mean all bags out there are unisex, but I don't really understand why they didn't make the strap a little bit shorter. It's so rare for me to struggle with a strap, especially with an Hermes strap, for it being too long. It's so rare. Most straps are too short, and I have to figure out how to make them longer. And I think this is the only bag where I felt that the strap was actually a tiny bit too long for me, which meant that every time I wanted to reach down to pick up the baby, to help him with something, to clean up after him when we're out and about walking, this bag kept flying back and forth. It was really hard to control. It was annoying. Every time I leaned forward, I was nervous that something would fall out of it when I didn't have my insert in here, because I have to say that the insert for me in this bag is a must. Because another flaw that I discovered with this, which is not really a flaw, but it can be kind of annoying, especially if you want to pack this bag, which you can. This bag surprisingly fits a really generous amount. This, if you're looking for a mini bag, if you love the look of a mini bag, but you'd like one that actually fits a decent amount, this is the bag for you. But one thing that I have to point out is that this bag is quite soft and unstructured, and the leathers that they make these out of are also on the softer side. So anytime you put something a little bit heavier in here without an insert, it is going to sink to the bottom. And once one thing sunk to the bottom, everything will just collapse on it. So it can be quite a challenge to keep this bag organized and find things in here. So by putting an insert in here, the experience has definitely become a lot more pleasant and a lot more organized, especially because the insert I have in here does actually have dedicated card slots. So it made a big difference, but it didn't make a difference big enough for me to be able to use this for dog walks. So even though it's still a bag that I'm happy to have, and I have been reaching for here and there, it's not one that I have been using as much as I had hoped I would. But I still love this bag. I do have an in-depth review on it, sharing everything that you could possibly want to know about this bag. But just a little update, I still haven't come up with a way to fix my shoulder strap issue. I'd have to be honest with you, I haven't really spent too much time thinking about it. It's something that I would love to, and I will let you know as soon as I come up with something. But for now, it's a bag that I don't want to say it has been put on the back burner, but it is one that I haven't been reaching for quite as much. And the bag that I have been reaching for instead are my CONSTANCE 18 when it comes to a little bit, I don't want to say formal, but not just going to the grocery store. Basically, if I'm gonna go window shopping, if I'm gonna go to a restaurant, that's the bag that I have been reaching for. And then when it comes to dog walks, you know exactly what bag I have been using. I've been using my Uniqlo banana bag dupe, which I do have a review on. So if you're interested in learning more about those, make sure to check out. I think the video is called the top 5 most used bags of mine of 2022. My friends, believe it or not, this is the end of today's video. I felt like today's video was a quick one, which is quite new for me, but I hope you still enjoyed it, and it helped to give you a little bit more insight into what pieces I've been using and which ones I have not. If there are any pieces in your collection that you at one point were obsessed with, but you no longer really reach for, please let us know in the comment section so we can learn from one another. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really soon.